Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and today, my friends, we're back with a showdown here between the Greenskins and Chaos Dwarfs. It's going to be myself with GRIMGOR, Double Giant, as well as the Troll Hag, coming in to face off against the Demon Smith character, who is going to be used as the Lord for the army. Also, Hashid Stark Ravagers, a couple Magma Cannons, and a bunch of angry Chaos Dwarfs. Now, as far as the build goes, it's going to be kind of an imitation of the Chaos style Warriors of Chaos build that I've come up with against the Chaos Dwarfs, which has been very effective. So with the Warriors of Chaos, you basically use Sigvald, Double Giant, and kind of a mixed match of characters and some mobility and cheap marauders with great weapons, and it works really, really well against Chaos Dwarfs because Magma Cannons aren't very good against Giants, and if they're shooting at your, goblins, marauder-type infantry, it doesn't really get them that much value. So that's kind of the idea, and we're going to see if it works here with the Greenskins. So we got two Giants. We do have the River Troll Hag, Spirit Leech, and Buna, both good effects. Infernal Iron Sworn, Fire Glaives are great targets for Buna, and Spirit Leech is very good against the characters, right? So that's pretty much it. We do also have the Rusty Arrows and some Archers in the back. The Chaos Dwarves do have a lot of lightly armored big targets. The Great Taurus, I believe, has 60. The Bale Taurus, the Elite one, has 70. You can see the Demon Smith's going to be riding that bad boy. And the Kadai Fireborn only have 60. The Bull Centaur Renders, I think, are in that ballpark as well. So a lot of good targets for your cheap archers. Now, for the Great Subutai here, he's going to be coming in with the Demon Smith, which I like a lot. This guy has the Reforge ability. Yeah, I think he brought it. Let's see. Or maybe he didn't. So I actually was thinking about that tech. So if you're in a situation where your Magma Cannons are your prized possession, they're your precious, right? They're obviously very overpowered. You want to keep them functioning the entire game. What you do is you just bring a Demon Smith with the healing ability. So if you're in an artillery trading situation, like cannons versus magmas, you can use the Demon Smith heal and win those trades for sure. Because magmas do very well against enemy artillery that has a crew, because they can roast the crew down, which is very strong. Chaos Dwarf Warriors backed up here by Hashid's Dark Ravagers. In the backfield, we do have Chaos Dwarfs with great weapons. And yeah, the Demon Smith is so cool. Look at this guy. And he's got his pistol too. The pistols do almost no damage. I mean, not no damage. 135 isn't insignificant, but it's not a whole lot of damage. It's mainly there to just apply the fire weakness and give you a little bit of poking utility. So Magma's going to be going downtown and just wrecking these goblins. And, that's to be expected. Any sort of a grudge throw or whatever would do pretty nasty damage. But these things, I think he brought them at the full price. So yeah, he brought the Hellbound ability. So they cost, I think, 1,100 gold. But yeah, they just plow through these. I always thought like a good change for Magmas would be to make them cost the same as like a Dwarf Flame Cannon, which is 1,300. Because, the Dwarven Flame Cannons actually, like I find they do a little bit, I don't know, they never get used. I would actually have to do a testing video, but I feel like Magma Cannons, obviously, or you could lower Magma Cannons range, something like that. But yeah, they're pretty nutty here. But that's why we give them bad targets as they shoot into the goblins. Goblins moving up, and they're happily eating those giant fireballs to the face, looking at the value so far. Not too bad. Goblins just going to move up and try and grab that point, and now we do get our Morgub's Magi Marauders and Wolf Riders, just because I didn't want him sitting above my army for free with his Demon Smith Sorcerer. Look at him sitting all smug up on top of this. This map is actually very thematic. It's the Halls of Karag Doom. It's a fallen dwarven hold in the Chaos Waste, and of course the Chaos Dwarves would probably find some reason to go there to get some artifact and try and corrupt it or something. Good times for all. So moving up on the point, we do have Chaos Dwarf Warriors heading up, and the Bull Centaur Renders with great weapons are going to be the answer that Subutai brings out for the large target, so they can definitely do work against Giants, but Giants can also lay a bit of a beating on them as well, as long as they have a little bit of support on the ground. Some more cannon shots, Magma Cannons going into the cavalry here, so the Goblin Wolf Riders getting hit a little bit. I do run into the vortex, so you can see I do try and retreat through, but it leaves that little damage over time effect, which does quite a bit. We do get the character down, so the character is pretty low, not pretty low, but is taking a bit of damage. He's taking about 15%, give or take. And now the reinforcements are on the way in. So we got Squig Herds for days. So it's going to be Squig Herds, Squig Herds, and Squig Herds, which are really, really good against Chaos Dwarf Infantry. Just like they're good against Dwarves. It's pretty much the same thing. So going to be moving those guys in, trying to get a triple cap here, knowing that the Magmas might be able to eventually push me off. I want to get what value I can and try and win late game with just 1 point left. It's kind of my game plan here. Hashid's Stark Ravagers, I like this by Subutai. They have hard-hitting throwing axes. So they throw their axes. Looks like he actually turned them around at the last second, so they didn't throw. But they do okay damage and have big armor piercing. So against like a unit like Blackworks or Rogue Idol, which I almost brought. I actually think Rogue Idols might be good in this matchup. These guys could be a very, very nice tech piece. Not only will they be able to fight pretty well in melee, but they can also throw at range there. So Squig Herds move in, and they're feasting. Yeah, they're doing great. Gork and Mork are pretty stoked here. The Bale Taurus is nearby, though. The Great Beast of Hashid. Probably going to be landing here, I would imagine, as the Dwarves are going to need some support. So here he comes, and, most of my army's concentrated over here. I don't really have the mobility on hand. My build is like 2 Giants and GRIMGOR, so it's very static. But overall, I don't have the tools to get over here super quickly. So Squig Herd's going to be rotating around, coming for objective number 3 as the Flamestorm, I believe, was cast. So I believe he did bring Flamestorm as his baseline spell and went after some goblins there, which I was very happy about. I was like, all right, well, goblins, they'll take it like champs. That's their job. More Squigs were coming in to help, but ultimately, the big beast, the Demon Smith Sorcerer, was able to fend me back with his bull. I love the bull. It's such a cool mount. Does cause terror, has the blazing body, gives it physical resist and damage reflection, certainly not insignificant against the Greenskins. So in terms of points, we're doing pretty good, and you can see they're a little bit wary to approach us here. We have the archer line, we have the double giants kind of chilling back here, and yeah, the Chaos Dwarfs just going to be trying to shoot magma cannons at whatever they can, mostly goblins. Archers getting a nice volley into the Hashid Stark Ravagers. Does a little bit of damage, but you have to remember Bull Centaurs do have the scaly skin, so they have 25% missile mitigation, which is very, very good. Another Spirit Leech going down, and the Demon Smith Sorcerer value is more or less that even, within 300 points. And the Bull Centaur Renders with Great Opens do move in to attack the Goblins, and I countercharge with Squigs, not because Squigs are any good against them. Squigs are actually large-sized, so they would get clubbed by the Great Opens pretty hard. But, you know, just buffering with Goblins gives you a little bit of armor piercing, and now the poor Rusty Arrows immediately get pounded by one of the Magma Cannons, and it basically one-shotted them. Very, very nasty stuff. Now, up in the sky here, Demon Smith Sorcerer ripping some nice breath attacks, as we do have the Goblin Wolf Rider Archers shooting up into the Demon Smith Sorcerer here, and there is going to be a big Flamestorm, really, really nice cast right in the middle of my unit. We'll see what kind of rotation it gets, and it does go through, and my poor Goblin Archers are being eviscerated pretty badly as the Squigs move in to support against the old Hashid Stark Ravagers. Magma is still pounding. We do have some Orc Biggins and some nasty Skulkers heading up to the point. And this is very classic stuff. Greenskins are incredibly good at stealing objectives. Like, we just roll in with Squigs. We get a cost-effective fight against the Chaos Dwarf Infantry. We have the capture weight here, and we're still holding on to multiple points. As in the backfield, we do get the landing of the character. So I do use a Mither to try and slow it down. And a unit of Orc Biggins has been brought in, which is very risky with Magma Cannons on the table, but he hasn't noticed them yet. So he's trying to, like, be a little bit sneaky. He'll probably notice them soon, I would wager. But even still, Biggins are very good against Chaos Dwarf units like the Bull Centaur Renders and those type of things in Kadai. And we're actually beating down the Demon Smith here, which is getting us back in terms of value. We were down by quite a bit. Magma Cannon once again going into the Night Goblin Archers here. The Wah is active, baby! And the big giants battling against the Bull Centaurs, but Bull Centaurs getting a nice little push on them, supported by some pretty good quality infantry. But the two giants are anchoring this point to the best of their abilities. Now, GRIMGOR, on the other hand, going to be going after some Bull Centaurs, and I've been enjoying GRIMGOR in this matchup. Like, really tough foot-based characters are definitely not bad against Chaos Dwarves, like Sigvald, GRIMGOR. They can go fisticuffs with Astrogoth, who Astrogoth is the actual lord of this army, who is going to be getting summoned in soon. So you'll get to see GRIMGOR in a little bit of a scrap there. Now, as far as this point goes, Nasty Skulkers have moved up. They're a very solid unit against Chaos Dwarf Infantry. They trade just super upward into the more expensive Chaos Dwarves. As far as reinforcements, nothing coming in from this side. We do have some troops coming in here, so it's going to be some more Orc Biggins who've been doing well. Flamestorm from Subutai here, but you can see the Demon Smith Sorcerer very, very low, and the Lunch Lady, everybody's favorite Lunch Lady's on the hunt, trying to get a sack of meat to beat down the Demon Smith Sorcerer. We'll see, but unfortunately she does get blocked up by a Bull Centaur Render and isn't quite able to get in and finish the job. GRIMGOR is also over here, and GRIMGOR has been putting some big hurt on the Hashid Stark Ravagers, has brought them down to a pretty low amount of HP, but good play by my opponent here. Uses the Bull Centaur Renders with the dual axes to get in, crump through the Nasty Skulkers, and block up my River Troll Hag. But we are up on value now, 5.8 to 4.9, so that felt pretty good. Two giants holding, but the points do belong to the Chaos Dwarfs, and they would win on 2 points here. So I need to do a little bit more. And knowing my giants were getting swarmed by the Bull Centaur Renders, I did call in some Goblin Wolf Riders just to provide a little bit of buffering for them, but you can see how the two giants actually handle the Bull Centaurs very, very effectively. Like, I find that it's Beastmen, like Minotaurs with Grey Opens, they generally struggle against, like, bunched units of, like, single entities, unless they can get a full surround. And the same principle kind of applies to Bull Centaur Renders. Like, what's good against Minotaurs is usually pretty good against Bull Centaur Renders as well. Granted, I think Bull Centaurs are maybe a little bit better probably because they do have that missile resist and are a little bit faster, but just my opinions. Now, on the other side, Nasty Skulkers shanking down against the Chaos Dwarves, taking almost no damage. We got Goblin Wolf Riders coming in, and I get real sneaky here. Black Orcs are a huge risk. But I was like, let's see if I can get them close. He's very focused on this side of the fight, and let's see if the sneaky gits can do it. Arguably, it might have been better just to summon out 3 Orc Boys and try and swarm the point and get the cap, but, you know, Black Orcs are so thematic, right? We gotta try it. We're having some fun here. Giant gets nailed by a Magma Cannon, takes it like an absolute champion, and here we do have the Giant River Troll Hag and the Orc Biggins moving in to fight the Bull Centaur Renders, while the other Giant just, you know, keeps clubbing. He's taking him to the club here, man, the candy shop. 500 value, but yeah, he's a raid boss to bring down. Now, Astrogoth is in here, the true menace of menaces, 7,000 HP. It's pretty wild. I think he might have more HP than GRIMGOR base, which definitely shouldn't be the case, but yeah, he's a character that is extremely overtuned. He needs some milk. They need to either make him more expensive or change some of the stat profiles. I don't know what it is. I mean, even in campaign, like, yeah, in terms of like his campaign balance, I'm sure it doesn't really matter. In campaign, like, everything can become overpowered. But yeah, in multiplayer, he is extremely overtuned. But he moves in, surrounded by Biggins, and over on the side point, we do get the Black Orcs, and they have crept in here. But the Magma Cannons now see the Black Orcs. But thankfully, we were able to get in combat before they start shooting. So at the very least, the Black Orcs here probably will be able to put somewhat of a dent into these guys. We'll have to see. Nasty Skulkers finish the job against the Chaos Warriors. And yeah, probably just spamming out Nasty Skulkers is very cost effective, right? So value's very close. The game is close in general. Here on this far side, the Demonsmith Sorcerer is going to be on his way back in. Orc Laborers piling up to help, so we have the Orc on Orc fight. Now, on the backside, we do see Astrogoth getting into Mortal Kombat, but GRIMGOR can definitely put up a huge fight against him. GRIMGOR is a very dedicated combat character, and he uses your next, so now Astrogoth is just getting absolutely clubbed by the Giant as well as GRIMGOR, and that feels pretty good. 70, 55, and 500, so his combat stats are better than Astrogoth's at the very least, so he can, I wonder in a straight-up duel, yeah, if they just like fought to the death, I feel like GRIMGOR would win, but it would be pretty pitched, because Astrogoth becomes really tough to kill as he gets lower because of the way his armor works. Now, more Orc Boys on the way in. Blackworks did end up being a mistake, like a horrible mistake. They basically just got annihilated by the Magma Cannons. Only 200 value worth of fighting, and yeah, they definitely could have done a lot more, but the Magma was just crumping them. And it makes me think in this matchup, maybe like a couple Doomdiver catapults, but the problem is Doomdivers only have 400 range, so Magmas would be able to rip a bunch of shots on them beforehand, but I think like the direction we're going here is not bad, right? Like swarming cheap units, maybe forsake some of the more elite ones, and just go for like single entities. Even an Arachnarok Queen could be really, really good here, I think. So, Big Giant just beating down the Orc Laborers, probably going to get terror routed here in a second. In the backfield, there was a back attempt cap here, so Bull Centaur Renders did move back here, but they encounter some Orc Boys and some Squigs, and yeah, they're going to get some damage on these guys, but inevitably the Bull Centaur Renders probably will lose this fight 2v1, so hoping for that. Nasty Skulkers on the way in, being attacked by the Hobo Goblin Riders, and we do have another unit of Orc Boys, which is going to be battling the Bull Centaurs. Hopefully they'll be able to do some okay work with their 34 weapon strength. So, fight of fights, ladies and gentlemen. On the backside, we do see ye old Goblin Wolf Riders coming across. And I figured, okay, we need to try and shut down these Magmas now. The game is pretty darn close in terms of value. He has pulled ahead. You know, that Black Orc unit gave him a ton of momentum. GRIMGOR does do pretty well against Astro Chad. I think Astro Chad's around here somewhere. Yeah, he's sitting at a very low amount of HP, but he does get there, is able to put a beating on my Giant. Still has 480 weapon strength, and the Giant is going to be probably taken out. There's also a lot of like shanking Chaos Dwarves and just chaff units that are wearing this big boy down. So he is broken. GRIMGOR does make his way across. Astrogoth sitting at about 2,500 HP. He's got a 7,000 HP pool, so it's pretty wild. Squigherds on the far side, still battling the Bull Centaur Renders and realizing I might lose this fight with a really, really nice cast from my opponent here. We do call in the Morgub's Mangy Marauders to put a little bit of missile fire into the Bull Centaurs to try and break them off the point. So we'll see if we can get it. So they're getting poked, they're getting shanked. 10 leadership on these bad boys, 1,700 HP. Bull Centaur Renders, certainly no joke. More Squigs on the way in. Squigs going to be trying to fight their way through the remnants of these forces here, just mostly Orc Labor units. And the I was so bummed we couldn't kill this Lord. Chaos Dwarves don't really have great leadership, so if I could have gotten like an Overcasted Spirit Leech and taken down that Lord, oh, it would have been such a nice leadership boon for our army. Now, Astrogoth sitting at 900 HP. Now, this is where he becomes unholy. It looks like he's wavering right now. He's down to 600, so he is just getting crushed by the Giant. But I would imagine Astro Chad probably has some good value right now. But the Giants do bully him. They are able to push him away, but overall, my supporting units are running a little bit thin, and the back objective looks like it could be compromised here as we get some Chaos Dwarf Warriors and Orc Laborers, and I don't really have a lot left. I'm falling behind in value, right? So as that starts to happen, things get a little bit more precarious here. A big Squig Herd Swarm going to be moving to this objective to try and take it. And the Magma Cannons are almost out of ammo, so, you know, the dreaded face-to-foot style, that's certainly one way to win a game. So we see 1,500 on this one, and the other one sitting at 1,900. So very, very good. They've almost doubled their value, so yeah, they only cost 950 if you cut their ability, which is typically what you're going to be seeing at a competitive level. GRIMGOR still chopping away with the Giant here. Back objective is in the control of the Chaos Dwarves, and I did send in Mangy Marauders to try and prevent the decap, but ultimately he is going to be able to get that. But at this point, looks like it could go okay for us. We got the Squigs moving in, chasing down these Hobo Goblin Riders with the remnants of the Black Orcs, and this objective is flipping for us, but there are some Bull Centaur Renders with Great Opens coming in, and seeing them, the Sacrificial Goblin Riders is going to be trying to chase off Hashwood Stark Ravagers, then maybe shut down a cannon temporarily. Nasty Skulkers coming in from the Vanguard, but it is looking tougher and tougher, ladies and gentlemen. As GRIMGOR is, yeah, him and the Giant are doing great. I mean, just getting big terror routes. A lot of the Orc and Goblin units are running, but they're just swarms and swarms of them, man. And that's a good thing, you know, Giants, you know, typically you don't want them hitting like cheap, crappy units, right? You want them to be hitting like super good quality units, and here, just tying me down with all these. Astrogoth gets sent running to the hills. He's broken, but probably will stabilize in a second. And this is the Stone Mantle, so it gives him 30% physical resist. He very much reminds me of like a stronger version of Orion. You remember when Orion was like impossible to kill, and then they changed him and made him bounced? Yeah, the Astrogoth is like kind of reminds me of pre-Orion, but even worse because he's like a caster too, so he's pretty much your all-in-one. The Giant, though, still doing some work, clubbing through these guys, but their leadership holding firm. The fact that he moved in some Chaos Dwarfs does give them all +8 leadership. Now back on this side, we're not quite able to get it. Bull Centaur Renders do get us, and the back objective we do start to resecure, though. But he's ahead on points now, so the little points lead I have has kind of faltered. Basic Orc Boys honestly don't do bad against Chaos Dwarf Infantry. And Nasty Skulkers, I think, are something you would probably really want to bring in mass in this situation here. So GRIMGOR trying Astro Chad on the way back in, and he is just a menace, man. Look at him just going in on this Giant here. Giant getting circle beaten and dragged down. Astro Chad gets hit, but the Giant literally hits him for like 100. It was pretty insane. And now GRIMGOR just going to be fighting, fully surrounded by Chaos Dwarves. Inevitably, the Chaff would drag him down, and Astro Chad is going to be getting in to fight him. When this was pretty funny, Astro Chad actually moves in to fight him, and GRIMGOR hits him, so he's at 516 HP. Let's keep track of this, right? So 516, 473 being hit by, like, GRIMGOR hit him for like 80 damage. I don't even know how that's possible. I guess his armor and the physical resist, it's like some weird combination. But overall, this is going to be a lost cause. I managed to get a couple points back. We do scrap that, and we scrap this one as well. And there was an opportunity, actually. Like, if we had another minute or two, we could have maybe triple capped them, because now that the magma cannons are offline, you notice everything changes. When the magma cannons are gone, the matchup suddenly becomes like totally different, as your infantry swarms can actually outtrade Chaos Dwarf infantry. But yeah, GRIMGOR gets circle beaten. You can see all those units surrounding him here. Really, really good play from my opponent, keeping the Demon Smith alive. And that is going to be GG well played. So yeah, fun game for sure. Learned a lot about it. I think, yeah, GRIMGOR is not a bad pick. I like him. 1800 value. He really paid for himself. But overall, I do think Azag would be the way with Spirit Leech, because Azag could like snipe their lords, the like flying characters, with some like hit and run. And he could also threaten magma cannons nonstop. So with careful micro, avoiding bull centaurs, you could sit him on top of the magmas and just cycle charge, Spirit Leech, kill them. Like, I think that'd be good. So probably you cut the Hag, you go Azag, double Giant, and then you cut the Blackworks and just go more width. I don't mind a couple biggins. Like, I feel like they're not like super expensive, but I feel like the matchup's doable. The bigger the map, the harder it's going to be. If you're on an Itza style map, I feel the Greenskins could come in with like triple Doomdiver Catapult and just shut down magmas like really effectively. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun for sure. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. GG well played. I'm looking forward to seeing how the meta all unfolds. And ladies and gentlemen, we will be back very soon.